Hello, welcome back to our series, Survive and Thrive, the Downturn Using Lean Tools. We have been focusing on working capital, and now we're going to take a look at the final element of working capital, accounts payable. So what is accounts payable? Basically the money we owe to our suppliers, normally for the supplies and materials that we need to manufacture our product. So let's quickly go back to the formula. What is working capital? Working capital, if you think about cash that we are forking out, basically says inventory plus accounts receivable minus accounts payable. That is our formula for working capital, and that is what we're trying to minimize and optimize. So what can we do about accounts payable? Actually, the first thing we're going to warn you about here is caution. Definitely not the first place you want to look into to minimize your working capital requirements.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a typical first place where companies will look to conserve cash, not pay their suppliers on time. And we want to warn you against that for some pretty clear reasons, I think.
Especially during a downturn, you do not want to go and beat up on your suppliers. Remember, you're going to need them, and who are they going to support during a tough time? The guys who beat, the person who beats them, or the one who partners with them.
Right. So here's some ideas for improving our accounts payable situation. Idea number one. If you're big enough and have enough influence with your suppliers, one common technique, and there has to be a win-win on both sides of this strategy, but the strategy would be what we call consignment. That is, if you have a long-term relationship with suppliers and they understand that it's worth being in this game with you, then basically they would stock the raw material you need at your site and they still own it. So at some predefined point, you actually take ownership of it. That might be when you actually release it to the floor and start converting it. Or in some cases, there are companies that even wait to the point of completion of the product before the clock actually starts ticking. So the advantage for us, obviously, is we reduce accounts payable until the last possible minute. In other words, we hold that inventory less amount of time. The advantage for the supplier, on the other hand, because there needs to be something in it for them, would be they get to do business with us over the long term, and they have a stronger relationship with their customer. So that's the advantage for them. If you're big enough then to be able to support that technique, that's a great one. Second one we could suggest in terms of working with our suppliers, it has to do with the pull system methodology that we talked about earlier. Clearly, if we have too much raw material and we're not controlling it tightly, then you're going to increase your accounts payable exposure. So by putting in place a raw material pull signal back to your suppliers, that will help us optimize the amount of raw material we have and control in turn our accounts payable to them.
So a case study, one of our suppliers, one of our clients that makes large monolithic parts that go into aircraft, made of a single piece of aluminum, like the spars or the ribs that go into the wings of some of these aircraft. We brought their key supplier for titanium and aluminum to the table, value stream mapped the entire value stream, and look for ways of minimizing the amount of inventory in place. We partnered with them, and they were just surprised that there would be someone in the aerospace industry willing to go through this process. The amount of inventory saved was approximately 75%. Now, during the same conversation, we brought in the CFO, our client CFO, to work as part of the Kaizen event to work on payment terms. They were given, this particular supplier was given the best payment terms our client is capable of giving. That was a win-win situation, a reduction in working capital by reducing inventory by a substantial number of dollars and better payment terms for the supplier.
Great. So final reminder, be very cautious, because remember, we expect to come out on the other side of this downturn, and you're going to need your suppliers. So make sure that whatever we do, we keep them into the fold, keep them in the family, pay them on time.
Absolutely. Partner with your suppliers. Don't beat them up. They are part of the value stream, and you will need them during the good times and during the difficult times.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll
Next
see you
time.
later.